She broke my heart, so I ruined her life. It all started 10 years ago. At the time, I was happily engaged to a girl I had known for 9 years and been dating for 1 year. We called her Nancy McPhee and the Idiot. Everything was going great. She got the engagement ring of her dreams. We shared a beautiful house. Both had stable jobs, and the wedding plans were going well. 2 months before the wedding, we found out we were going to have a baby. This happiness has never been felt before. The wedding plans continued, and there were only 28 days left until the big day. I came home from work and found that Nancy was not at home. I called her to ask if she was delayed at work and when she would probably be home, but Nancy was not at the company. She was at her grandmother's house in another state. Nancy calmly told me that she didn't want to get married and she wasn't going to come home. Once again, I was shocked. What had happened? I tried to call her back, but her phone was turned off. I called her grandmother, but there was no answer. What about the wedding? What about our children? What about everything? 3 days, no answers, no contact. For 3 days, I couldn't breathe. On the 4th day, Nancy showed up and started packing. She didn't say anything to me. She left and sent me an email saying she couldn't be with me anymore. No reason. I started calling her sister to ask her what was going on. The sister told me she didn't know, but gave me their mother's phone number. Strangely, Nancy said her mother was out of the picture because she was a substance abuser. Despite this, I called my mother, who told me that I was the lucky third person to fall into the trap. Nancy cut her out of her life so she couldn't spoil Nancy's game of milking men for money and resources. Nancy had been pregnant twice before, miscarried, and fled to her ultra-religious grandmother's house, claiming she was being abused so she would take her in until things calmed down and she could get pregnant again. The ducks have been gone for weeks and I still haven't heard from Nancy. I've lost 20 pounds, underperformed at work, and been given a warning. My family is mad because the ducks lost money on the wedding trip plans, and I'm devastated because the wedding was called off less than 30 days before the big day. I'm broke. I check our joint bank account and the balance is minus $2,000. The ducks. Yes, I'm not going to pay the mortgage anymore. I start to pick myself up and my grief turned to anger. I was so full of anger inside. I really had to rein it in a little, or I could have gone to jail within a month and a half of the divorce. I got a text message. I had a miscarriage. You stress me out too much, and now my daughter is dead. Daughter. I was going to have a daughter, and you blamed me for that. Enough. I'm going to live my life. No more waiting. Open this witch. A few days of heavy drinking helped me to escape my sadness again and return to anger. Let's get started. Most of Nancy's things are still at my place. I have to get out of here because I can afford it. I start packing to get rid of it, but I stumble across something, her resume and her checkbook with the records of her personal bank account. I read her resume and found it to be as much bullshit as everything else. I turned on the computer, created a new Yahoo email account, and wrote a long letter to her company office, itemizing all the lies. It felt good. Manipulating the checkbook. I signed each check with her name and then tore the checks from the book. I drove 30 minutes to the most rundown part of town and left the checks on the sidewalk in front of an AM/PM convenience store. So much for good things. I went home, threw out all of her stuff except for her laptop, and I kept the gun. 2 weeks passed and Nancy called me. I didn't answer the voicemail. She said she was laid off due to downsizing. I knew that wasn't true. Duck. Yes. 2 more weeks passed, and some letters from the district attorney's bad check compensation plan started arriving in the mail. Duck. Yes. Oh, and hers. Renewal. Shred all of these. Oh, and while I'm at it, I might as well change her address at the post office. Homeless shelter sounds good. I heard through a mutual friend that since Nancy was now unemployed, she was staying with friends and being supported by super Christian grandma. Duck. I opened her laptop and created a new Yahoo email address that differed from Nancy's real email address by only 1 digit. I sent an email to Super Christian Granny with a video I had saved of Nancy blowing herself up. I titled the email, "Hey, Granny, check out the work video I shot. Hope I uploaded it correctly." Duck. Yes. The email replied, "You're disgusting. Hope your new job pays well, because if you're like this, I won't support you." Granny, I sent her a saved video of Nancy blowing herself up. The subject of the email was, "Grandma, check out the work video I shot. Hope I uploaded it correctly." Duh. Yes, the email reply was, "You're disgusting. Hope your new job pays well, because if you're like this, I won't support you." Oh shit. The best of both worlds. Embarrassment and financial hardship. Noise. Weeks passed. I got a call from Rent-A-Center. What the hell? They want Nancy's furniture back. Nancy's furniture all back. I didn't know it was rented. I said I didn't have it. They argued that she said she lived there. I stuck to my story and told them I didn't. I didn't know where it was. That night, I burned them all in the yard. Owed $4,200. Ding dong. I found out Nancy had a new job. As I was planning my next move, I heard some good news. Nancy had been arrested and jailed for embezzlement. Apparently, she had financial problems and stole $5,000 from the petty cash fund and got caught. Oh my God, that's great. She was out of contact for a few months, and then I heard from a friend that she was released on bail by her grandmother. Just a few days later, she pleaded guilty, was convicted of a felony, and was given a 3-year suspended sentence and ordered to pay restitution. I hung up the phone and declared the mission accomplished. Revenge. I'll leave it there. A few months later, it was time to move on. The phone rang. It was a recycling company that wanted to retrieve Nancy's car and wanted to know where she was. Ha ha ha, okay, that's the last nail. I made a few calls and found out where she was living. I called the recycling company back and gave them the information. They thanked me and said that if they recovered the car, I would be eligible for a $100 reward. Car, no thanks, this one's on me. Nancy is now an unemployed felon and single mother who recently had a baby with a stranger and lives with her brother and his girlfriend. I'm married with a beautiful daughter and living a happy life. Yesterday, I received a message from Nancy on Facebook congratulating me on my marriage and the birth of my child. "I'm so happy for your happiness." I replied, "Go to hell," and she blocked me. Life can be tough sometimes, but it heals the soul.